Dan, how are you, darling?
I'm all right. How are you?
Missing you, buddy.
I know. Today is supposed to be our Christmas lunch.
But we've put it back. So we're going to have a little celebration on air, aren't we?
Yeah.
Now, actually, shall I crack mine open? Hold on. Ready? Here we go.
I'm cracking mine.
Oh, yes.
Oh, look at that.
That's a cold one.
I'm gonna make the sound effect of mine opening because it's already open.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to have a little swig and I'm going to toast you and all those lovely people who listen to us. And a little swig here.
Cheers, Hugh.
Cheers. And actually, I will offer you a twiglet. Rach just got these yesterday, so I'm going to get bollocked for really the kids should be able to.
You're going to eat your way through them.
Yeah, hold on. Oh, there we are. Right.
Oh, that's a satisfying pop, isn't it?
Twiglets really are delicious, aren't they?
They really are.
So look, 2020. What a bastard.
2020 is our guest today.
Yeah, real bastard. Shall I go and get him? Or just leave him down?
No, he's all right. He's a right twat.
Yeah, I mean,
2020.
He started out quite well. I used to like him sort of around about January to March, and then this is getting really contrived.
He was all right in February. In March, he just turned into a real twat.
Yeah, and then actually he's got a bit better this, last couple of months, not so bad. I don't know. Should we stop this analogy? It's absolutely horrific.
Okay, so we're going to be doing a best of 2020.
Yeah, and it's
everyone does best ofs, right? That's the thing to do. We should do it.
Yeah, list. So this has been. We've been trading it all week on Instagram. So it's like a kind of 360 idea, Dan. We've come up with the idea and then we're telling the world about it. And I know you've worked long and hard on those posts, Dan. You've really helped me put those together at 7:30 when I'm eating my porridge.
I got a day job, mate.
Yeah. Actually, mate, I've got a freaking day job. I'm now on 2 projects, and this, and writing for shots. So, I'm on 4.
That's mad. And you have to watch Man United play in the evening.
Anyway, so moving on. Well, first of all, I'll just say great year working with you, Dan, on this this little side hustle, which has become possibly the most exciting thing in my life.
The side hustle is the main hustle. Yeah, is the hustle.
And next year, I hope
it's great fun. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's nice. I mean, it's really shit not being together, but I think next week we will, won't we? Because we'll do Sophie and Birdie, and then we go for lunch. Is that right?
Yeah, and then we're gonna lunch anything with a substantial meal for every drink, right? So we're gonna be fat and drunk.
And when I hug you and tell you I love you repeatedly, please remember
you can't do that.
Oh God, I can't.
2 meters.
When I tell you I love you from 2 meters repeatedly, please don't hold it against me. I just get very even more amorous when I get more drunk.
It doesn't need to be Christmas or drunk for that to happen. You do that on every episode. It's fine.
We haven't had a decent drink since we've met, have we? Maybe.
Except for those award shows that we used to hang out in.
That's when we were younger.
That I used to see you in.
We better get on this. This is already getting late.
Let's do it.
Do you want to start the year?
Let's start the year. So I think Dracula at the beginning of the year. Was it this year? I'm sure it was this year.
I think it was this year, wasn't it? Yeah, January, Feb, around there. Great. Oh, you can definitely hear the twiglets. Right. So I just quickly eat those. Right, come.
I don't know if you've seen on the Twitter, but someone else has done their list of the best podcasts, and we came second to Dave Dye. It was Max and Max.
And Dave Dye said something really rude about us.
Yeah, he called us fuckers.
Right, he's only coming on 3 more times, and that'll be it. No, thank you, Max and Max. That's very kind, Max Headroom.
Yeah,
that's lovely.
Anyway, Dracula.
Yes, come on.
Brilliant stunt. It was a piece of outdoor at the beginning of the year, which is, generally a quiet time in outdoor, but it got everyone talking. It was on everyone's social feeds, and rightly so. It's won awards everywhere this last year. I think it's a great piece by BBC Creative. and delivered by the Talon Creative Solutions team. You know, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
You got it first out of the blocks.
Sucking from the corporate teat.
I let's move on from that teat. I remember it. I remember the show was really irritating though. I watched the first one and we were going, this is it's all right. And then by the second, third one, I'm going, fuck off, didn't want to watch it. I'm just really annoyed that I'd invested like 2 hours of my life in it.
Did you? I got 20 minutes in and switched it off. I'm sorry.
Then is that one of those things that the creative work is so much better than the actual thing? And you're right. It was it's staggering, and it's brilliantly portrayed, wasn't it? You know, the little film that they made of it. It just made everything. You could just send it and show it, and people just go, "Oh God, yeah, that's great." Sometimes people get these ideas and they don't quite. It's quite hard to explain them, isn't it? When you know, if it's not just a flat poster, but it's just a beautiful bit of time lapse.
And that's the thing. This it lived perfectly on social because of there was a little time lapse video of it, and it was a one-off unit, I think. So it's good to see it out on the street. It's good special build. It's obviously been inspired by other work that's used light and shadow, but it's it's contextual because it was the stakes of and the break glass thing. It worked really well. I think it's rightly in our top campaigns of the year.
Quick credits here. Helen Rhodes, Ollie Harnett, producer Ivana Bohuslava. Sorry, badly pronounced. Bohuslava. Creatives: Matt Rees, James Fairfield, Ruben Dangle, and Vicky Stevenson, and designers called Johnny Ace and Jaron Williams. So everybody brilliant. I'm sure there's other people involved, but that was a hell of a start. And I think we thought, great, it's going to be one of those mega years. You know, like we just started the pod and we just have an abundance of great work. And I suppose if you don't mind, Dan, I'll introduce the next one.
Go for it.
Which was KFC. And right, I will stand corrected by you good self and other pedants out there if this was the year before, but I have a feeling it was this year, but then it might have arced over. We had Anna Barolin of Anna and Hermetti, the brilliant ECD's mother, who told us all about it. Actually, we weren't going to talk about that, but she had just done it. Anyway, who cares when it was? It's roughly this year, but it was just brilliant. Again, it was just one of those things you're thinking, why haven't they done that before? It's so effortless, you know. It's finger licking good, but without the finger licking clearly, and the visual just sits there. I mean, there's so many clever things about it that use the visual to complete the line, but even if the line didn't have it, it still says it's good. I was thinking about the photography last night, trying to describe it, and it's sort of like fashion photography, but not trying too hard. It just feels really. It just feels like really slightly editorial, bit fashiony, just a bit cool. No logo, but little hints of logos from bits of neon or the bucket. Just so coolly done.
Yeah, Adam Hinton talked about the photography in it, and he liked this, didn't he?
Yeah.
He thought it was the softer focus. He loves a bit of long lens work with his athlete stuff. I think it's a nice thing.
And then Dan, you had a thing you spotted. Tell me if I'm. Oh look, I can see you. Sorry, sorry everyone. I've just seen Dan. Hugh, welcome to Zencastr and a Zoom call at once. I can't really do this now.
Oh, there you go. See?
It's so funny. Sorry. The thing you said about
there was a thing in the US. It was a similar type of idea, but pretty sure it was executed in the US. I've already got the beer burps. Sorry, listeners.
And what was on it? What happened?
They'd pixelated out the finger licking part of the line. So instead of saying finger licking good, it's finger blurry, licking blurry.
Well, it's blurry good, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's very, very good.
That wasn't Mother or UK, was it? But it was
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was a COVID response in the US. I think. Yeah. But I saw it on my feed, or I think maybe. anyone interested in US out of home should follow Billboard, who runs Out of Home Today in the US, because he sends through loads of cool stuff on a daily basis.
It must have been really irritating for Anna and the guys at Mother initially, because you go, it's a brilliant campaign, and then who could see the tsunami of shit that was coming our way?
2020, that twat.
Yeah, and they went, oh, you can't lick your fingers. And you're going, you are fucking kidding me. You know that stuff you're going, you can't believe that's what's going to come. And so it went down, didn't it? But then I think it benefited from that a bit, didn't it? And then it came back out.
Yeah.
I think, you know.
Did he get banned by the ASA for that?
I don't think he got banned. I think they just were told to take it down.
Right. Okay.
And then I think, I can't remember actually, but Anna will probably tell us more. But I think, you know, it was a beautiful campaign. And I'm going to just quickly say words. Anna Ballin and Hermeti, her husband. CD Richard Tamasebi, creatives Charlie Lannis, Lucas Rees, and a photographer. Brilliant work from Sam Wright. So we're rattling on to another bit of fast food. I said to Rachel, we're going to do food first, and she went, food? And there was a question mark around.
I've got some Monster Munch.
Oh, okay. Well, that's very appropriate, but she was sort of saying, you know, KFC, Burger King and McDonald's. Don't know if that...
Burger King was interesting. It was, I think it was pretty much a year ago.
Must be, yeah.
A year ago today? Tomorrow?
Wasn't it when Paul Belford came in? Yeah.
It was December last year, because it was around election time, wasn't it?
You come in and went, oh, so this is good.
Right. I'm just going to do a quick search. 4th of the 12th, 2019. So, a year ago today, well, this is going out tomorrow, so it's the 4th tomorrow. So it will be listeners a year ago today.
I can't remember who...
Yeah, I loved it. And, you know, any of you out-of-home geeks out there, I spotted it with the help of my good friend Richard Simpkins, who's also an out-of-home geek and a format nerd. The typical shape of a bus side is called a T-side because it looks like a T. There's a longer bit in the middle. Whereas
Sorry, Ray, that was great.
The another whopper on the side of a bus is actually an L side. So that's the old shaped buses, so old-fashioned bus. So rather than a proper bus campaign, I think it's a bus special. They've hired the bus and put the advert on for the PR photo that's gone outside Westminster, that featured in everyone's news feeds and social feeds. So a bit of outdoor doing its job beyond the outdoor that it's intended to be played on the first place.
And a strategy. It just works a treat, doesn't it? Just get it out there, even if it's once. That Haggerty thing, you know, he just says if you want one brilliant ad once, it's as good as winning a shit one a million times. There is this HFSS ruling thing that on London Underground formats and public transport that you can't show high fat, sugar content stuff in proximity to certain areas and for audiences to see. So it may have not run if they'd run it through the proper channels. But it's just a belting line, brilliantly timed. They had you could see their PR structure properly lined up, and it's sort of...
So what does... I mean, it's clever because it's what outdoor does really well, right? An outdoor ad, it can be highly contextual, and it can be contextual around that location or a time of year. So this is around the election. It's photographed at Westminster. It's it's a piece of outdoor advertising. It ticks all of the boxes of what great outdoor does. It's a fantastic idea, and it's been executed perfectly.
And it probably didn't cost them that much.
No, I'd say it's not a lot at
all. Sticking with the fast food, I'm going to take us 2 McDonald's.
We've done KFC. We've done BK.
Are you?
We're going to go to.
If you're really hungover, which you might be soon, or maybe next week, would you go KFC, Macca's, or Burger King? What's your? This isn't anything
Good
to do
question.
with Billboard, by the way.
It depends on the time of day.
Yeah.
If it was morning, and I'm hungover, a Macca's breakfast, sausage and egg McMuffin, 100%. But if I've been out on a big one and it was lunchtime hangover, I think I'll probably go for some. It's good.
Yeah. You know what? We're not allowed KFC. I don't think I've ever eaten. I've eaten a thing called PFC. So in Highbury, I don't know if whereby you are, but we have all these fake KFC places which are probably cooking horse meat and pigeons and stuff. But I got in there one night, absolutely rat-assed and cleared out a bucket and chips, and then I sort of ashamedly told Rach and the girls, and I had to take a vow. So weirdly, I get told off a lot by them about things I shouldn't do, and I mostly ignore them. But KFC, I just said, right, that's it. Never going to do it again. So I'm pretty much a McDonald's guy. I remember when I started at Saatchi's, so we're going to get off this very quickly. I remember being at Saatchi's and I joined first time at Droga, and I used to get hammered every night in a pregnant man and just roll up to Warren Street and think, oh no, I'll get my tea at the McDonald's on the corner. So I'd have Big Mac, quarter pounder cheese, chips, and I'm like, go home, wake up feeling terrible, go back to work, think, I'll have a breakfast, right? So I started topping and tailing my days with McDonald's. Oh, God. Anyway,
That's supersize me.
Yeah. But anyway, so McDonald's, up to date. This was this incredible campaign. I remember Pete Hayes getting in touch with me.
Did you do some credits for the BK bus? Because I don't think you did.
BK, sorry, creative people. Stuart Royal with double L, I think, and Phil Holbrook, creative teams, and the CCO, Ian Hartfield. There was a photographer, but sorry, it fell off. But I think the credit there goes. And credit should
the
go
photographer fell off.
Yeah.
Oh, what? The bus?
The PR people should get a lot of credit on that as well. So on Macca's, so Peter Hayes wrote to me on LinkedIn, and honestly, God, this feels like 2 years ago, but I think it was this year, and alerted me to this brilliant campaign Leo's had done, which were they were ad shells, which just had the name of the each constituent part of a McDonald's burger, fillet of fish, so it goes. Have you got on there, Dan? I haven't got it open.
Yeah.
Can you read one out?
So I'm going to read the Big Mac one. It's bun, beef, gherkin, lettuce, sauce, bun, beef, cheese, lettuce, sauce, bun.
Great. I mean, and then they're all coloured in the right order. There's no logo, there's no end line, there's no hashtag, there's no website.
How many brands would get away with, or could get away with, putting something out on outdoor without their logo? Be that iconic to do something without their logo on it. It's just fucking brilliant. I love it. I love it for so many reasons. I love for the bravery, both the client and the agency, but then I also love it just as a piece of graphic artwork. I wouldn't put it on my wall because I'm not that sad, but maybe if I was at college I would, I don't know. But it's it really is great to look at, which is what Ben Kay said actually the other day. If there's one thing you should remember about all your billboards and posters, is try and make them look beautiful, and they are beautiful. I think they've done an amazing job there. I mean, McDonald's, actually Burger King as well. We should try and do that Burger Wars thing, shouldn't we, Dan, when we get people in, because they are two of the most the biggest investors in out of home. But I think McDonald's are so consistent, and this work really, really stood out, and rightly so. I mean, just no logo. I just can't quite get over that, and nothing else, just the stuff. Yeah. So the other two in the series were bun, tartar, fish, cheese, bun for the fillet of fish, and then the breakfast was muffin, egg, sausage, cheese muffin. So
what's good about these as really well is it's hard sometimes when we put it on the Insta or on the website, we can't always get the work in situ, but I always like to see the billboard as it was rather than just a piece of artwork. And when you see them there's one image Pete sent me, which is the Big Mac and it just stands out. Things stand out when they don't have a logo on it. I remember seeing the Steve McQueen project, the Year 3 project. Yeah. And I was walking down the tube platform, and immediately when something doesn't have a logo on or some end line or a hashtag, you're really drawn to it. And I said, oh, what's that? And then I stood and looked at it for ages. It's amazing. There's something to say about that. Obviously, I'm not saying to brands take logos off everything, but...
So before you do the credits for that one, there was another... have a mouthful of Twiglets and so no one can hear what I say. There was another piece of McDonald's work this year in France for... I think it's done by TBWA for McDonald's, and there was special build poster sites around Paris that looked like they'd had a mouthful, bitten out of the outdoor billboards. Yeah. So they're kind of these fabricated billboards with a picture, a very close up macro photography picture of a burger or fries or a Big Mac. And it looked like something has bitten through the steel hoarding. I thought they were brilliant. And again, it goes back to what we were talking about. This typography-led one is on there. The burgers are so iconic, and the chip wrapper so iconic. They've got away with doing it without putting a logo on there.
It's I really like that. I think I saw it a couple of days ago. It's wonderful stuff. Right, so let's do Macca's CCO Chaka. I know Chaka. I'm going to attempt to say his surname. I've always just known as Chaka, but Chaka Subhani, Pete Hayes, creative director, creative team, James Millers, Andrew Long, designers Jake Arnold, David Schwen, head of design Phil Boscher. Young man, we're going to go and have a little drink now. Lucky Saint is a brilliant. It's a brilliant name for a brand, isn't it? That I love the idea of beers called Lucky Saint. So I think I was already well attuned to it when I heard about it, and then of course Dave Dye did the posters for him. It was a bit of a sort of perfect moment. Dave came in twice.
Mr. Timeline, when was this? We were in lockdown, weren't we?
Oh, God, you're going to... See, this was... I was foggy. I wasn't sure if this was before or after, but I thought I'd put it neatly in with the food and drink, get it out of the way, but I'm not sure. It might have been after.
I'm pretty sure it was in lockdown, because I remember Mark Denton sharing it with me, and I'm pretty sure I was at home.
Right.
And I showed the missus, and she's not that interested in outdoor advertising, to be honest.
Got through those. Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah. Anyway, can you sort the toilet out there?
Can you get out of the way? I'm watching Love Island. Can you get out of the
way? But Dave graced our studios twice, didn't he? And I think he might still be talking in there. Well, I know we had to leave, but he could still be telling us where we're going wrong. But no, Dave's incredible. I was thinking about this. He's such a monstrously talented guy. But then some people are talented, but they're not very nice or generous. So you're going to go, oh yeah, they're like a tortured genius or whatever, or they're a bit mean. But he's just incredibly nice and generous, and comes in and gives his sort of pearls of wisdom. I mean, I was sort of taken aback a bit. I think the first time, because I didn't know him that well, and the second time I was like, oh yeah, this is great.
The first time he came in, he was, and listeners may remember, he asked me a couple of times if I actually liked the work, because it didn't, and in his words, jiggle about a bit.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't animated enough.
I think it's funny, wasn't it?
Well, the funny thing about it is that ever since that, because it made me laugh. Sometimes when I'm talking to clients who are not really that interested in doing anything animated, I'll often say, well, just give it to us. We'll make it jiggle about a bit. So that's kind of stuck with me.
He's reduced a 500 billion pound industry or something like that to just a couple of words.
Yeah.
Jiggle it about.
Yeah, just jiggle it about. That'd be right. That'll sell it.
I also remember his socks. We were chatting away and I looked down. He had these weird polka dot socks in Birkenstock slippers.
Socks and sandals.
Yeah, sandally things. Which sort of, I couldn't get them out of my mind when we were chatting, and it sort of stuck with me. Which is another sort of interesting quirk. But no, I was Owen Lee, the CCO at FCB Inferno the other day. We were chatting about the podcast, and he said he thought Dave's chatting was like sort of life coaching. It was that good.
Yeah.
And said, are we charging people for this service? And I said, sadly not. We're actually losing money. These twiglets I paid for out of my own money.
You can stick a receipt in for that if you want.
Okay. But no, so Lucky Saint was very good.
I don't know where you stick it, but it's not...
No, well, I could tell you. I mean, the Lucky Saint work was one of I really love to chat. We won't go on about it too much. I know we talked about it a lot on the pod with Dave, but the shot of beer, so it's got the lovely Saint thing, the halo splashing off it. That's the idea. Fantastic, job done. But it could have been, like you said, a fairly kind of, static pint, classic, with a little splash on it. But he said he wanted to have it messy and frothy.
Yeah,
and
that's the right thing. Right? Yeah. It's real. It's a real drink. It's not one of the the classic Carling ads and the Carlsberg ads with that perfectly poured pint. No one goes to a pub and gets a perfectly poured pint like that. It doesn't happen. There's always bits falling off the edge and some...
It's funny, because when you look at...
barmaid wiping the bottom of the glass.
When you look at that poster, there is a massive appetite appeal for me. Like, I want to drink it because it is like you've just described. And there's also a brilliant idea of the Lucky Saint halo splashing off it. And it's just sort of very... Yeah, it's just very Dave. It's brilliant.
Did you see any of the Coca-Cola stuff last year?
Is that
the Fizz one?
Oh yeah,
the Fizz.
I love that stuff.
So they had a poster. I'm sure it was last summer.
Summer before,
maybe. I'll put them on the feed. But what was really interesting was I saw them. They were close-ups of a Coca-Cola drink in a glass with the bubbles going up, and a glass full of ice, classic Coke shot. But and their line was, and forgive me, creative team, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but it was something like "Try not to hear it."
That's probably it. Yeah, sounds like it.
And they also had another one, which was the top of a can opening. So the kind of a ring pull of a can. That first bit when you open a ring pull, the kind of the air squirting out. Yeah. And again, the same line. Try not to hear it. Mm-hmm. Amazing posters. But one of the greatest things that they did at Cannes that year is they put those posters into radio advertising.
Ooh. That's funny.
That's really funny. Yeah.
Did it work?
I don't know if they won anything, but I'd heard they put these posters into radio advertising. And I said that's really funny because it was a
very strange judge from Thailand to say these are gold. Just saying he's
this is brilliant.
Broken the category. I'm going to pass you over to the next campaign, which I think again,
are we going to go COVID responses?
We're drifting into COVID land, but we're going to start with the thank you work, which I think you were involved with, weren't you?
Yeah, Grateful Britain, which is the name of the campaign. Yeah. Mother. I mean, this is we at the time of lockdown at our place, we kind of reached out to the industry bodies, media owners, and people like Outsmart and the World Out of Home Organization to offer our services while we were at home, to use what was unsold out of home media space to hopefully convey messages of thanks, things like claps for carers, all sorts of stuff for getting the message out there. And Outsmart said, actually, if you could work with Mother on the Grateful Britain campaign, it would be awesome. So I dropped a note to our friend Anna, and yeah, she shared with me the long line, the short lines and the long lines.
Yeah.
And I said that we would happily get it out to every single billboard and screen around the country. And it's just a very simple idea. Definitely a tip of the hat to some fine work from Pepsi from many moons ago.
Yeah, the Dave Trott line, lip smacking.
Dave Trott's line, yeah,
absolutely brilliant. I think, I'm presuming it was an overt homage to it, rather than that's a coincidence. I'm sure they would have known it. But yeah,
and when I was talking to Anna and her team about it, there was a feeling at the time. There was a lot of work. There was a lot of thank you going on publicly to NHS and rightly so to care workers in the NHS, but not necessarily to the wider community of support workers running around, still delivering your Amazon deliveries and your food deliveries, and collecting your bins. So those key workers were still out there doing their bit, and the clapping was going on for the kind of the frontline carers in the NHS. So they wanted to make sure that their line and their copy thanked everyone that was still out there working. And that's why this message outdoors was perfect, because those people were still driving around the delivery trucks, and
it was nicely handled. At that time, virtually, I think the world had come to a standstill, but they still created a good-looking campaign, brilliant idea. But like you said, pertinent to the people who were out and about. Because at that time,
and the thing that a lot of people won't know is that the lines were targeted around key times and key locations,
right,
based on who would be passing those out of home sites. That's as well. Sweet. So again, it goes back to what I said earlier on. This is outdoor doing what it does best, and it's contextual. It's relevant to a time and a mindset of people, and it's delivering something that's just is beautifully designed.
I think a few honorary mentions in there. I think we're not going to spend too long because we have covered this sort of stuff, but when we've done the COVID thing, we have talked about it a lot. I mean, it is the year of COVID, but right at the beginning as well, there's a very sweet campaign from my mate John Dean and Gary Marjoram, I think his name is, Mullen Lowe, and they did this, again, a series of headlines which are just very witty and well-timed. Oh no, not you again. Another one, we wish you weren't reading this. So it was all about bizarrely putting posters up saying to people, we don't really want you outdoors unless, it's crucial. I thought that was very sweet. It ran over in America as well. I'm actually not entirely sure what the client or the organisation was, but in a way, it's slightly irrelevant. It's just.
I think they put on the bottom there. They put on something they put NHS and Public Health England or something, didn't they? But I'm not sure it was fully endorsed. It was just a message that people wanted to get behind.
I mean, in a similar vein, there was and some of these ads we will flag it when it's true. There was a spec campaign for Netflix. But it was circulated widely around the net, and it was a spoiler campaign. One of them says, "Jim Hopper dies, then he doesn't." And then the subline says, "You should have stayed home." So it's a very smart idea, wasn't it? They chose all their shows and they spoiled the endings.
Subverting a behaviour that people shouldn't be doing into something that is a piece of
really
content. And
it didn't happen, did it? We must say that Netflix didn't.
It was a mock-up, we believe. There wasn't an actual campaign, we've been told. But
actually, you know what?
Yeah, I think
while we're in that space, sorry, just do this one as well, because the Guinness one, which has been featured on our Insta, this guy called Luke O'Reilly, or known as Red Balloon, and it's just a brilliant Guinness execution. Guinness at home, and the top of the pint is a lovely white sofa. But the way it's art directed, I heard, and again, I'm not sure if this is true, but it's a 1 minute brief from an organisation. I'm not sure who, and this was Luke's response. So that's pretty impressive. I found.
Did Guinness pick it up after it went out?
I'm not sure. I remember it got passed around loads, and I think after a while, and people go, "Oh, have you seen this thing Abbott Mead done?" You go, "No, they didn't do it." But then it's that thing, isn't it? You kind of go when people put stuff out speculatively, and there's a weird time in the middle of the summer.
Well, I think that was actually the beauty is that, I was on a lot of client calls and agency calls as we were in lockdown, and they're kind of, how's it going? And I said, actually, those first few months, there was quite some highly creative work going on as people were either keeping themselves busy or working on stuff that they knew someone would pick up. So that things like those 1 minute briefs and things that we were coming up with things to go out to international markets with. All of a sudden you got this headspace away from actually fee-paying clients to do something creative. Yeah. And I don't think that was just in the industry. That was actually people at home as well. Those people putting up pictures of their kids' rainbows in the windows and turning their windows into posters, essentially, poster sites, as you could go on your daily walk, was actually the inspiration for some of the work that has been created.
I think you got in my note this morning at breakfast time. She was like, "Oh, okay," but you could sort of say, a domestic house front window was the medium of the year because that was where everybody put their message, Yeah. And it was just an incredible moment, wasn't it? I remember Rachel doing it and I was thinking, this isn't going to last. But pull that down in 2 weeks, it's still up.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And did you see the teddy bear thing as well? Did you see any of that?
That's ringing a bell. What is it?
So I think it started in Australia, but because they were in lockdown before us, people were putting their teddy bears up in their windows so that when you're on your daily walk with your kids, you could go on a teddy bear, you could go on a bear hunt, and you could find as many bears as possible.
That's a cool idea.
And the kind of the rainbow thing for NHS came around after that, but it's it's the same thing, turning your house window into a kind of
there were other things like that, like you said, where it became a little bit freestyle, and people just started going, "Fuck it, I'm going to put a poster up." And in that little category, we had an American artist. Oh God, his name is going to escape me now. But he said, "Please believe these days will pass," which I love.
Oh yes.
And then there was also another one. There was so many put up that I took loads of photos on. But there was another one that really struck me. It said, "It's okay to be upset. I am too." They're sort of like very community-based
they're kind of
message.
art projects. They're art projects. There's something they're a passion project for somebody. And I guess you could probably put SHN into that category because they weren't, NHS weren't really a client of Rich's, right?
Brilliant DJ link. So I started thinking this is going to lead us nicely to, because it was like that. The gloves were sort of off, wasn't it? It was like everyone's going, "Do you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do a load of posters about washing your hands and I'm going to just give them away free."
Yeah.
And I suppose that's where Richard Denny, who's yet to come on the show, I think it's next couple of weeks. I'm sure Rich will find out, obviously, from the horse's mouth, but I'm sure he was at home one day and he probably started having a little play around with stuff and suddenly thought, "Fucking hell, look at this." And I think by that point, COVID had hit. Everyone's in like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do?" And then the official messaging from the government was like, "Stay home, stay alert, blah, blah, blah," which is all kind of a bit blunt. I suppose important, but it didn't have a kind of creative, sort of texture around it. And when this happened, when it says "stay home now," still now I just think it's just amazing. It's so clever. It's so smart. It's so perfectly timed. You would never run this poster ever in the history of the world ever again, but this summer. And why are you staying at home?
Yeah.
Well, because it's this pandemic. And fair play to Dave, because Rich, because this is something I've noticed in some of the campaigns. you come up with an idea and you go, well, you haven't got the NHS, you can't run that. Well, I know I've got the NHS. And you go, don't worry about that, just do it. Like you were saying, people just going out there, putting posters up. And Danny just went, do you know what? Me and St. Luke's, we're just going to do this. And I think that's
it was a free-for-all, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone owns the NHS. That's the whole point, is that you don't have to pay me to do this work. I'm going to do it.
And I wonder what happened, because I'd love to speak to my NHS client. I'm not in touch with him anymore, but what he felt, because, I mean, I'm sure they have loads of people wanting to give them their services for free, but this one it caught fire, didn't it? And it went up on every billboard. I mean, the next slide down, people made badges of it. It got put on the fourth plinth. I mean, T-shirts. It just went everywhere. And they made a little film. And it was staggering, actually, like how a little idea can just grow and grow just through sheer bloody mindedness, possibly, but also generosity and people embracing it and going, wow, that's a great message.
I think that the generosity, Global got behind it. Global Outdoor, big media owner.
We like Global.
They obviously donated space, but that generosity was coming from across the entire industry at that time. So all of the media owners were donating space here in the UK and around the world.
Yeah,
and the charity-based work that we were seeing around there, or the charitable or positive message work you're seeing there, it's all on donated space. No one was paying for that space at the time, that's for sure. I think that when we worked on the Sending Love campaign, ideation and actual production, we went out through to the media owners, and we had hundreds of media owners around the world come back and donate that space immediately because it was such a positive message.
And that idea was that was from you and Grand Visual, right? Sending Love.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I was working with the group COO, Frank, who was talking to media owners about doing something out of the ordinary while we could, and wanted to get a positive message out there. So we took that as the brief. How can we get a positive message out there and send some love around the world? And as we were literally saying that word, it formulated into a concept that we had written up and sent out.
Dave's it fits into Dave's wiggly, shake it all about you. Dave, what did he say? Dave Dye thing? Move it about a bit.
What, jiggly?
Bit jiggly.
Make it jiggle it about a bit. Well, it was largely static, actually, but it was the idea being that we hand the advertising boards over to people who can't travel. So the idea being that I could send love to my friends in New York as well as the whole of New York. So I could take a picture of me holding up, my heart-shaped hands and go through the portal and say, right, I want to send this love to New York. And as part of that, got a picture back of my billboard that I could share on my social and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
but it was the idea being that it was a user-generated content piece that could run all around the world. So at a time where we weren't allowed to travel all around the world, we could send images of affection and support to each other using billboards around the world.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, you could still run that now, couldn't you? A second phase. It's wonderful. The other thing in this, we're in this space, just on a couple of honorary mentions. TBWA did a wonderful use of Piccadilly Lights, cancer is working from home, which I thought was
good.
Heck of a line to come up with. So credit. I actually have the team. I better get this right. So I've just been working at TBWA, and they won't like me if I get this wrong. There's obviously Jexy was the CCO, but the creative team, Sindel McInerney and Fleur Willems. So well done, you guys. That's a fantastic piece of work we loved. And then there was obviously the Queen, who is, I suppose, a brand of sorts. And she appeared.
Did she do that piece of work?
Yeah. She did her own bit of self-promotion, which was her. There's a message, wasn't it? Sort of around.
It was, and the credit here actually goes to Ocean Outdoor, who are the media owner who look after the Piccadilly Lights.
Right. That's great.
The Queen had just come out the Queen had just come out with her speech around these unprecedented times, and they wanted to make sure that message was broadcast wider than the TV and radio audience that it went on. So I think they took it upon themselves to add the quotes.
It looks like a postcard from the 50s, sort of thing my mum would have in a drawer, because there's no one on the streets. Well, there's a red London bus. There's a picture of old Queenie in a little quote, and it's staggering that was this year. That's our country, that's our capital. But I mean, look, we talk quite a bit now. If anyone doing a review of the year obviously is going to be all about COVID, but I think it's now we should move on to something, quite debated, Oatly. We're not going to spend too much on this, but this is sort of a bit Marmite. Some people aren't very keen on this at all. There's a guy I know, Nick Strada. I'm sure he won't mind me saying this. I used to work with Nick, and he's not really a fan. He said something like, "Is it me, or is everybody just sick and tired of these overly ironic campaigns, blah, blah, blah?" And I sort of responded actually on the social and go, "No, you're not wrong there, mate. But we're a democracy behind a billboard, and we just want to put the stuff out there and chat about it." So I actually quite like them, and I think Dave did. And I think my point is that he's right. There is a lot of ironic stuff out there, and I think
they're a bit meta, right? So there's some. I think some people in advertising specifically don't like anything that's a bit meta, but because
I think what it is, for me anyway, I think they're very well written, and actually I start to forgive them because some of them just genuinely make me laugh. I think someone hasn't just toshed this off as some little ironic thing. They've really thought about it. And I think Oasis...
The mural is probably my favourite.
Yes. I think
the mural is very good.
Here we are. I just got to read it out. Am I the only one who thought this campaign was yet another tedious add that comment on its ad status in an attempt to be ironic? We've seen this so many times. Which I think is fair. And I think Steve Gash, another very good friend of mine, really doesn't like them. But I like that. I like the chat. I like people going, "No, that's bollocks. It's rubbish." I think that's why.
But that's modern art, right? This is the whole thing about going to the Tate Modern. You and I could stand next to a piece of work, and you'd go, "That's fucking shit. I could do it myself." Yeah. Or, "Oh, that's just a fluorescent light. That's not an actual piece of work." We have it every year with the Turner Prize.
Yeah, I mean, saying Oatly's art,
it's subjective.
It is. I imagine
it's subjective.
It is very subjective, but. I think they won me over, and so I wanted to credit Michael Lee, the ECD, the in-house ECD at Oatly, who I feel has done a fabulous job. But someone said, "What do they do when that's over?" So good luck to that.
Yeah, I think they are. They have fun with their packaging. If you ever read the side of we have oat milk here in this house.
Yeah.
They're drinking their own Kool-Aid or oat milk, as it were. So that's fine.
Absolutely. Let's move on. We need to ramp it up a bit. We just don't want to go too long because people, they're going to be tired, aren't they? Just me.
Half of them are switched off by now. Or they're either that or they're through their quality streets now.
Is it that graph that goes up and then it dramatically falls off? Is that when I'm talking? Is that we hit that point?
We hit that point. Well, you basically need to tease what's coming so that people don't switch off. So you need to say.
So we have two campaigns, all about sleep, both massively different. IKEA, quite a few people's favourite of the year, the way they've used pillows, duvets, etc. to subvert images and make them look like sleeping pills and stuff, and face cream. Just fantastic work. Mother again, I think it's their third set of work in art, best of the year, but rightly so. Brilliant art direction. I mean, there's a line on it. Oh my God, there's a line to die for. Tomorrow starts tonight. Oh my God, that's like ace. So I don't know if we're going to go on about too much. It's just brilliant. And then Eve,
it's great work,
is a campaign from Creature. Ben Middleton got onto me and shared this with me earlier in the year. And again, it's completely opposite. It's telling people to turn off. This was a bit like your thing, Dan, about the timed thank yous to get people. This was timed for when people are sort of heading off to sleep, I suppose. And the imagery used the sort of graphic design style of the test car. And it was just wonderfully graphic. And they, like I said, appear in the evening. Brilliant media planning. I think they bought some stuff outside the BBC as well, which was pretty cool. So the creative there was Megan Egan, design Alyssa Metznick, strategist, got a strategy person here. Probably don't need them, but Catherine Owen, the other strategy there. And I've got a producer, Lou O'Brien. So some bonus credits there.
Yes, it's good work. And again, it's contextual, right? We all know that during the pandemic, mental health has been a huge part of the narrative, and making sure that we look after ourselves and our mental health. And sleep is a huge part of that.
Oh, God, yeah.
So it's good. It's very, very good.
It's good and it's important. I'm going to pass you over to the garden shed. Do you want to do some B&Q?
We're going to do some B&Q, yes.
My notes are not tallying with the visuals. This is poor.
I think we jumped around a bit in the middle, but we're fine now. I think we got back on track.
Can we talk vaginas or garden sheds?
Well, I think B&Q before vaginas.
Okay.
Generally.
I mean, B&Q is very easy because it's just immense, isn't it? It's just on every level. I'll say my bit and you say your bit. Sounds like an idea for a podcast. My thing was just the lines. Like, who'd have thought a picture of a shed and the word peace would be one of the best posters of the year, but it is. It's sort of thing my brother, who is a punter, not that person, would just laugh at and say the truth. It's so true. Him and I hide in his shed when we're up there, smoking funny little things in the corner to get away from his funny little kids. First kiss, the dinner switch. Brilliant. Just like, it's like a whole story, one picture and one word, or two. And it's there's an art to this. And in the way they're put together, they could have just gone, I was thinking about a million ways these could have been art directed in a really shit way, but Neil's and the team there, I think hopefully they're going to come on and tell us, but they're just beautifully put together, aren't they?
I agree. I think there are two things, or two bits of advice that we've had from previous guests that have been put into practice here very well. The first one was from Anna at Mother, and she talked to us about find the insight. Where is the insight? That was the biggest bit of advice she'd ever been given.
Yeah.
And the only one for a different reason, but this has got insight all over it, right? This is, what is the shed for? The insight is that for your brother, it's a place where I can go and get some peace, right? And
have a bifter.
Sorry. He's going to thank you for that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't think he's listening to them.
And so, they're driven by the insight and the action. It feels like, what's the emotional benefit from a DIY project, and those are there to see.
Yeah.
And the second thing I'd say, again, from a piece of advice from a previous guest, from Tim Riley, was the visual shout. These are a visual shout. Yeah. That is, there is no doubt. Single word, single image, single logo.
Yeah.
Map background. Also, these are things that will.
But also what I like about them, they are visual shouts, but they also leave a gap for you to fill in.
Oh, yeah.
And that is the joy of being a punter. And you just fill that tiny bit in and you feel a little bit better about yourself. And I think that is the art of everything we're trying to talk about, rather than just firing out. Particularly Good Tired is another one which you and I have talked about endlessly.
Good Tired's great.
So
loved
good.
It. And they've also reclaimed orange from EasyJet, because we're so bored of seeing the EasyJet.
So I'm not even going to try and pretend I know how he did this, but Niels would tell us there was some very interesting East German design group, I'm sure he'll tell us about, but just immense. Just the last thing on this, so I've been working on two quite big pictures recently, and both ECDs I've been working with have called up B&Q, both the film and this work, and just talked at length about it. And I don't think it was like completely 100% brilliant. But it's just talk. It's just there's so much chat about the film and building a life and yada yada, and then these posters which just do a fantastic story. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. Do you want to talk about vaginas?
I mean, if you want to show me yours, that's fine.
That's a sort of schoolboy thing, isn't it? We used to do it in the playground when I was about 7.
What?
No, I haven't got one, by the way. I'm genuinely haven't got one.
I thought you...
No, sorry, mate. This was a wonderful campaign. It came late in the year. It's 3 creatives called Natalie Gordon, Amy Fazy, and Jakob Hellstrom. I hope I said your names right. They actually work at Pablo, but it was all their own doing. They approached them and they came up with all of it themselves. I love so many things about this, particularly the way they wonderfully opened it up and gave it to illustrators, photographers, artists, said, do your thing. We've just got a line opening soon. Great line. Do your thing. And one of my absolute favourites, they're all great, they're all beautiful, but one of the favourites is See You Next Tuesday, which is Laurie Lee, who I know well, and her husband, Jonathan. And I mean, who'd have thought in your day job you could be allowed to put that up on a poster? So bloody well done, you guys. That's an amazing piece of work. And I'm going to pass it over to Al for some bumbling around on a dating app. Yeah, when did you see these first? I was a bit slow to
I think I definitely saw them on my social feed in the autumn. Must be early autumn. But I saw the US ones first.
Yeah.
I know they've run in the UK as well, but it was definitely in the autumn. And I mean, again, I keep saying the same thing, but it's outdoor at its best because it's contextual to a moment in time and 2 locations. So some very well written headlines. Here we go. This is for Bumble, the dating app. Not all major attractions are cancelled until 2021.
Yeah.
Another one.
Next one's my favourite.
On the beach. So this is on a barge billboard. But are they quarantine material? It's very good.
So what I love about that is that rule of come into something late, start the sentence late. That's what I say about writing novels and films and all that. Just start the scene as late as possible. And it's just something so good about that line. So American. I think the American lines, well, it's the same team. It's Ollie Beale and Alex Holder who wrote them. Something about the American lines are just a bit tighter, aren't they?
Yeah, and my personal favourite is Your Park or Mine, which is very good because you can only go out on a daily walk. It's
brilliant that because again, it's a bit like SHN. You would never have written that, apart from this summer. It's I love these. I love the boldness of them, the bigness, the sort of fuck you. We're just going to say what we feel and let everyone else deal with it. Very Ollie actually. I worked with him briefly at Anomaly. Wonderful man. So we've done well.
A final, Well, there's a bonus one in there as well. I think, but I just slipped one in right at the last minute. But before we get to that one, because it is in the same vein and I guess category, something that we saw very recently with the launch of the PS5 was the underground sign takeover at Oxford Circus.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great as a kind of I love these kind of special builds. There's 2 things I love: out of the ordinary, not a billboard. So kind of breaking outside of a billboard's confines, whether that is a special build on a site or something that is a non-outdoor site that's been subverted in some way. And I think this one does that really well. It's kind of a very iconic logo of the underground. With the red circle being subverted on the four corners of Oxford Circus Station. So with a green triangle, a purple square, and a blue cross.
Yeah, I mean, I
with the
love
underground
this.
still written in the middle. Really nice.
There's a few people a bit sniffy about it on LinkedIn, saying, "Oh, where are the old nipples Billboard ads?" Which were amazing. And by the way, if anyone can get hold of Nick Hine or Paula Jackson, I'd love to talk to them about those posters. But I think time's moved on a bit. Let's just go with it. I think it's incredibly.
Well, you remember when they launched the PS4, didn't they do? They did the Oxo Tower, didn't they? They did the cool PlayStation logo on the Oxo Tower, and this is kind of the next step on from that. I think it's nice. It's cute. Again, it lived on social because not many people are on the underground at the moment. But
I searched high and low. I couldn't find the agency. There's a credit for AJ Wells and Sons. As a signage makers.
They're sign builders. Yeah, I don't know whose idea it was. It may have been in-house at PlayStation.
Well, please, if anyone knows, please tell us. We'd love to know.
Yeah, get people the right credit. But on the same vein of the computer stuff, and I know this is kind of this has certainly polarized some of the audience as well. But I really liked, and it may be just because I'm a football fan and I love a mural, but I really liked the FIFA 21 murals that they put in the. Oh yes,
I've just spotted this.
Location specific.
Oh, those are cool.
So they had the Liverpool ones. They basically chose some of the best teams in the Premier League, and selected the best team in that city, and they put some murals up in those cities. So in Liverpool, they chose Liverpool. In Manchester, they chose Manchester City, which is the blue team that plays in Manchester.
I really follow football so much these days.
But they had the men's team and the women's team represented on the mural in Manchester.
Yeah, the women's team probably still better than ours. Judging on last night's finishing from Martial. Jesus H. Don't draw me in on that, mate. See, I've got drawn in. I'm not even said. Leave it.
In Tottenham, in North London, they selected Stephen Bergwijn as well. But they've picked some places that are kind of out of the ordinary.
It's very cool, that, Dan. I haven't seen that. I love that, mate.
Yeah, it's nice. It's very.
I haven't seen any
very good looking murals.
There's nothing around in Highbury, but because it's so lovely around here, you wouldn't get that sort of common muck on the walls around leafy Highbury. Sorry, that sounded terrible. As a joke, we've got our tagging bits. Don't worry.
No, I think they really selected the successful teams that are kind of well followed.
All right. Listen, I can't believe you fucking ended it on a little boast about your team. All right, top of the league, have your moment. I would say we'll win fuck all, but I think actually this season I'm not going to say anything other than I think United will win a game and then they'll lose a game, and then they'll win a game and they'll lose two games, and I'll pull my hair out.
I've been following Spurs way too long to assume that we're going to win anything. We will get very close and fall over at the last minute. Don't worry about that.
Let's talk about winning, because we rabbited on and everyone's nearly asleep or don't know what they're doing, probably working from home.
They're cooking their Christmas dinner.
So we're going to announce our top three of the year.
Top 3 of the year, yeah.
Hold on, let's do a little.
Good idea.
I'll do a little drum roll on the thing. So, in third position is the KFC campaign, which we've talked about a lot, and we like that very much. So that is the third place.
In second place, it's got to be SHN. I think for me,
there was quite a long debate with the jury earlier on this, and the guy from Belgium was having a bit of a funny moment with the guy from North London. Actually, I'm the Belgium. You're not even North London. Bloke from Hartford, but SHN has stayed in second place because the winner. Do you want to say it?
No, you say it.
Okay. The winner.
Maybe we should just end the podcast now, so that no one ever knows.
For another misery. The winner by a country mile being Hugh. For all the reasons we said before, we'll find out more next week the week after off Nils, and hopefully we'll have that episode out by Christmas if Dan pulls his finger out and can edit stuff really well.
Wow.
Sorry, mate. Bit punchy there. It's
harsh.
Yeah, harsh. Well, you just had a go at me. Come on. But it's brilliant for all the reasons we said. And I think the reason why we wanted to put that number one was it's a totally legit client. It's massively paid for media. It's very, very difficult to do this stuff. And they've just done it as well as we can, as well as any other brand this year. And I think for that reason, COVID, SHN aside, I think this is a valid winner, but I would also put SHN very, very close to it.
Yeah, I want to see. I also want to hear from Niels where it's going next as well, because he may not be able to share much, but
do you know what?
You can see that it's the beginning of something.
Do you know what would be nice? Because we got Denny and Niels coming in the next couple of weeks, so we can have a little bit of chat with them about how they feel and stuff.
We can make them arm wrestle.
Ooh, yeah. And I think my money, I don't know, because I don't know Niels at all, so I wouldn't be able to say. I know Rich quite well. I imagine he works out a bit. He's quite sort of strong guy. Not as strong as you, Dan.
Or we can make them do like a rap battle or something.
Yeah, or draw 48 sheet. 1 minute, 48 sheet off. Yeah, come on, that's
dance
like
off.
It. Dance off.
While dancing and rapping.
Dance, rap, and then they can draw posters.
Yeah, done.
Right, that's next year's format. Thank you, mate. I'll see you next week, won't I?
See you next Thursday.
See you next Thursday, which is still the same. And then we'll have our lovely Christmas lunch. Thank you, everyone, for listening, being so patient. We're just over the hour. So we'll say goodbye and see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.